Hello and welcome to this MyThemeShop video screencast. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to set up and install the SociallyViral theme from MyThemeShop. SociallyViral is an incredibly powerful WordPress theme that's based on the same design you'll find on viralnova.com, a site which was sold for over $100 million. To get the most out of this video, you're going to need a basic knowledge of WordPress, and if you don't have that, then don't worry, you can just pause the video and head to mythemeshop.com/WordPress-101, and here you're going to find dozens of video tutorials which will teach you the basics of WordPress, as well as some more advanced WordPress tutorials if you're already familiar with how to use it. So if you're not familiar, just pause the video and check that out now. Now the first thing to do is to head over to the MyThemeShop member area at mythemeshop.com/go/member and log in and find SociallyViral. You want to open that up and then download theme files. You want to save that onto your computer and then head over to your WordPress dashboard. Now from here you want to go to Appearance and then click on Themes. You then want to click on Add New and go to Upload Theme. You now want to choose the zip file you've just downloaded. Select that there and press Open, and then just press Install Now. And WordPress is going to upload and install the theme files. Once that's done, you just need to click Activate to activate the theme. And you're going to see if there are any plugins that are recommended to install that you haven't got installed. You can just click Begin Installing Plugin in order to install the recommended plugin. We can see that the WP Mega Menu plugin is available separately from the WordPress plugin repository, so you can just press Get It in order to install that. Follow that link, download the plugin and install. Next place you want to go to is Theme Options, and this is where we're going to set up the main bulk of the options available with this theme. We can just dismiss this notice about the plugins. Before we get stuck into customizing the theme, I want to show you, if you head over to the Import and then Export tab, you're going to see you have two options here for installing the pre-built layouts, and these are the layouts you'll find on the demo at mythemeshop.com. With one click here, you can import the layout used with the demo. It's going to have all the settings set up and you can customize it from there. You can press the demo button here in order to see what that's going to look like. And once you're happy with either one of these, you can just press Import in order to load that. It's going to overwrite any options and you can just click OK in order to do that. That's going to load up and you're going to have all of the default settings imported. Now I'm just going to show you through the general settings. So here we have the theme options, and this is where you can control all of the aspects of the theme. You're going to see along the left hand side you've got this menu here, and you can just click on these different options to load these up. We'll cover each of these one by one. Once you've made a change, you'll always want to press Save Changes after you've made that change, and you can also reset to defaults by pressing this button here. So first we have General Settings, and this tab controls common settings which can be applied to the whole theme. First up we have a logo image. You're going to see here by default you have the SociallyViral logo, and you can just press Remove Upload in order to remove that and add your own. You can add your own just by pressing Browse and either uploading a file or selecting one from your media library. I'm going to select this disk here as my logo. You can just press Select Image there. You can also add a favicon, which is the 32 by 32 pixel image that will represent your website in the corner of browser tabs. Again, you've got the default one here. You can just remove this and then select your own from either uploading or from the WordPress media library. I'm going to select this favicon here. You can also add a touch icon, which will represent your website on devices on iOS 2 Plus and Android 2.1 Plus, as well as a Metro icon, which is representing your website on Windows 10 Plus. You can also add your Twitter username and your FeedBurner URL, which is using the FeedBurner service to replace the RSS feed on your website. You've also got the option to add any code to the header or footer. This might include things such as buy-sell ad script, Google Webmaster Tools verification, and analytics such as Google Analytics. You've got the option to change your pagination type, so that's whether you have a load more button, an infinite scroll, or numbered or default and next or previous, as well as an AX quick search. On or off, this will control whether you have search results displaying instantly on the search form. You can also turn on or off the responsive part of your website. You're probably going to want to have this turned on so that users using mobile and tablet devices get a specific version of your website. You can also enable or disable prefetching. If the user's on the home page, then a single page will load faster in modern browsers if you've got prefetching on. You can also lazy load images. So this will delay the loading of images until the user scrolls over them. You can also enable right-to-left language support for right-to-left language sites, and enter the number of products you want to show on the shop page if you're using the WooCommerce plugin. Once you're done, you want to press Save Changes in order to save your changes, and you're going to see that that has updated there. If you now head over to your site, you can see that the changes you've made are live. So for example, we've got our logo on the left-hand side, as well as the AJAX quick search. So if we just search for WordPress here, we're going to see that results are returned immediately. Heading back to the theme options here, we're going to take a look at the next tab, which is styling options. Here you can control the visual appearance of your theme using things such as layouts, colors, patterns, and more. First we have the color schemes 1 and 2, and here you can select the main colors used with your theme styling. You can use this color picker to choose any color on the color wheel and choose between these defaults here, as well as change the gradient. You can reset this to default by clicking this button, or you can enter the hex code for a color if you want a specific one. I'm just going to change this slightly here, and also change the complementary color to a slightly darker one. You can of course change these around as you like. Once you save your changes, you're going to be able to preview those immediately on your site just by visiting your website. If we have a look now, we're going to see that I've got these two main colors. That's the first and that's the second, are as I selected. You can of course play around with those to get them exactly how you want and exactly matching your branding. You can also choose the default sidebar position for your site. It's either having a right or left sidebar, and you can just click between these in order to choose that. I'm going to leave mine with a right sidebar. You can also set a site background, color, pattern, or image from here. If you want to have a background color, you can just use this color picker here. You can choose any color on the color spectrum again just by clicking any of these or moving this around. You can enter a color hex code here, or you can reset this to default. I'm just going to leave that on a default light gray. You can choose a background image, choosing between a pattern, just by choosing any of these here. I'll just show you what this looks like here. If we had this striped one, for example, then we could select that there, save the changes, refresh our site, and we're going to see immediately we've got this striped background going on here. You can of course also have a uploaded image, and you can just choose between any images in your media library or upload a specific image and just press insert in order to add that there. You can choose the background, including the repeat, the attachment, the position, and the size, and also choose whether to have a parallax effect on where the background will scroll at a different speed to the rest of the page. Finally, you can choose a color gradient, and you can choose two colors to have the gradient running between and from. So we might have two reds here, just by changing this one slightly, and we can have the direction of the gradient as well. If I have that horizontal, I'll just show you what that looks like. Again, just save your changes and you're going to see them immediately made on your site. We're going to see we've got this slow red gradient going on. And if I wanted to reset that, or switch back to another one, perhaps a pattern, then I could just do that just by clicking this here. You can also enter custom CSS here to further customize your theme, and this will override the default CSS used on your site. Finally, you have the option for a lightbox. Now, a lightbox is a stylized pop-up that allows visitors to view a large version of your image without leaving the current page. So if I wanted to enlarge an image, I could just click on it and I'm going to have that enlarged straight on the page. You can have this on or off. As always, save your changes once you're done, and you'll be able to see those changes immediately made on your site. Next, we're going to have a look at the header, and from here you can control the elements of the header section. You can show or hide the logo completely. So if I wanted to hide my logo, I would just have this off, as well as have the search form on or off. I might have mine off as well. You can choose whether to have your floating navigation menu. So that's whether your navigation menu is going to scroll with the page. I'll turn that on. And you can also disable or enable the primary navigation menu. You've also got options for the header social icons, and you can also choose which header icons are displaying. You're going to see here by default we've got Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and YouTube, and I can just click on any one of these in order to change the title, the link, and the URL. So if I wanted to have this going to the MyThemeShop Facebook page, I could just have the URL in here. I'll just type in facebook.com/MyThemeShop. You can change the background color as well, although the defaults are going to be the respective colors for the respective brands here. If you want to change any of the orders of these, you can just pick these up and drag and drop. And any of these, of course, can be expanded. or collapsed. If you want to add in additional header icons, you can do so just by pressing this button here and then filling in the details as you would for any of these other ones. Once you're done making changes, you can save those, and if we just have a look at our site, we're going to see that the changes we've made with the header are going to be reflected now. So we've lost the logo and the search box, and as we scroll down, we're going to see that the navigation menu floats with us. If we decide after that we would actually like the logo on, we can just press that in order to save those changes and have the logo added back. Next, we're going to have a look at the footer. Here you can customize the footer section of your website. You can have footer widgets on or off. So enabling this is going to have a number of widgets. You can choose between 3 or 4 widgets in the footer. Enabling this is going to add an extra section to appearance and then widgets for you to add your widgets in. I might have that on with 3 widgets. You can show or hide the footer navigation just by having this on or off. This will be an extra area of navigation in the footer. And you can also have the copyright text. By default, it's going to have theme by MyThemeShop.com, but you can leave this, add your own affiliate link, or delete this as you would like. As always, make sure you save your changes. Then if we scroll down to the bottom of the page, we're going to see we've got these 3-column widget area, as well as the navigation and the information we've added there with the link. If you don't see any information here, then you want to add the widgets, which you can do under Appearance and then Widgets. And also you'll need to apply the menu to the location, which you can do under Appearance and then Menus. So that's Widgets, which you'll find here, and the menu you're going to find just below it, all above the theme options. Next, we're going to have a look at the homepage. And here, of course, you can change the layout of the homepage. First thing you can choose is a design for the homepage. You can either have a large featured area here with blocks then going to the side and all the way across, or you can have a sidebar and then blocks just going 2 across. Currently this is on 3 across for me, but I'll change it to 2 across and show you what that looks like. I'll just refresh my homepage and we're going to see this change from 3 across to 2 across, and I now have a sidebar where I can add widgets under Appearance and then Widgets. I quite like the 3 across, so I'm just going to change that back. You can disable or enable the homepage slider, and if you have this on, you're then going to have the option to choose which posts go in the slider. I'm just going to select my categories here. I'll have this breaking, and you can also add additional categories just by clicking here. If you want to select all categories, you can click this, and you can remove categories just by pressing the X. You can choose the number of posts to display in the slider, and also add a custom text to your slider just by pressing this button here. You can add the title to your slide. So I'm just going to add custom text. You can add an icon if that's appropriate. Select an image for the slide. You can either upload one or select one from your media library, as I'm going to do here. Just press select image. Add a description of the slide. And then insert a link if you would like. This might be a great way of showcasing different areas of your site. Once you're done, you can press OK, and you can add additional sliders just by pressing this one here and adding in additional details. You can reorder these by dragging and dropping. I'm just going to remove this just by pressing delete slider. So we've got one custom one here. So those are the options for this slider. Just for brevity, I'm going to disable the homepage slider here. Next, you can add featured categories. And here you can select the categories displaying on your homepage. You're going to see by default you have latest posts, and you can choose either between your latest posts here or between a particular category. I'm just going to leave this on latest post, and you can also change the number of posts to be displayed. Note, just for the latest post options here, you're going to have the number set under settings and then readings used to display how many posts. And if you click on this link, you'll see an option to change that there. You can, however, add additional sections for featured categories. I might add 3 posts from the awesome category and then just press OK. And then just save those changes and load up our site. Then we're going to see that we've got going on here. We've got the standard latest posts, and then below that we've got awesome category here. And you're going to see we've got the posts from that category. This category just needs some more content in order to make that display nicely. Next, you've got some homepage meta info, and you can choose the post meta info you want to display. For example, date categories. You can also include the author name and comment count and rearrange these, or just remove the ones you don't want. So I might just have the date and author name here. And if I save those changes and just refresh one more time, then we'll see what that looks like when loaded up on our site. We'll see that we've got just the author name and date now displaying, and well as those categories below now. Next, we're going to have a look at the single posts section of the control panel. And here you can control the appearance and functionality of your single post page. First, you're going to see options for the look of your single post, including whether to have post content, whether to show related posts. And if you just expand this, you're going to choose between having related posts by categories or tags, as well as the number of related posts to have. I'm going to have mine by categories. And you can also choose whether to have an author box on or off. You can have tags just by dragging and dropping here. And as before, you can rearrange any of these just by dragging and dropping, as well as disable the ones you don't want to display. I might just have post content, maybe with an author box as well, just below it. You can choose whether to have post meta info. This is author information and categories displaying. You can have that on and choose which information to show. This can include the author name, the date, the category, and the comment count. I'm going to have all of those on to provide a little bit of extra information. And you can also have breadcrumbs on or off. These are a great way of making the site a little bit more user-friendly, and they just show the parent categories that are in relation to the post. You can highlight author comments and choose whether to have the date in comments as well. I'm just going to save those changes, and if we head over to our site and then just click on a post here, if we take a look at one of these, we're going to see that we've got this post meta information displaying here, as well as an author box and then comments here. Next, we're going to have a look at social buttons. Here you can enable or disable the social sharing buttons on single posts. You can choose whether to have social sharing buttons above content, below content, both, or have them floating next to the content. I'm going to have these floating for maximum engagement. You can choose whether to have these on pages as well as posts. I'm just going to keep that off. You can also choose which buttons to display and in what order. Again, you can pick these up and drag and drop. So if I wanted to disable Google+, for example, I could just drag that over there, as well as perhaps disable StumbleUpon. I'm going to save those changes, and if we refresh this post, we're going to see that the sharing icons move from above the post to the side, and they're floating alongside the content. And this is a great way of maximizing engagement with your content. Next, we're going to have a look at ad management. Now here you can easily control the adverts displaying on your site without the need for separate plugins. So for spaces in posts, you can have these displaying after a certain number of days the post has been published. You might want to do this in order to catch search engine traffic, but exclude your regular readers from adverts. So you can paste in here and then choose to have perhaps delayed for 7 days, or if you disable this, you can just put 0. So you're going to see you've got 3 advert options here. You've got the header ad, below post title, and below post content. And for the ones in the post, you've got options for the number of days as well. I'm going to save those changes, but we're just going to skip on from this one because it's self-explanatory what the adverts do there. Next up though, we come to sidebar management. Now here you have full control over the sidebars, and you can manage sidebars as well as select an individual sidebar and create custom sidebars on a per post basis or for each section of your site. You can add custom sidebars. For example, I might want to have a custom sidebar just for my single posts. So I'm just going to put the title single post and use the ID sidebar single. Now if I save this, I can then apply that to the drop down here. You're going to see you've got different options for applying the custom sidebars to different areas of your site. You've got the homepage, single post, single page, archive, category archive, tag archive, date archive, author archive, search, and then the 404, as well as options for the WooCommerce plugin if you're using those. I'm going to select the one I want and then have this displaying single posts. If I save those changes, now when I go to set up my widget, I'm going to find I've got individual widget areas specifically for these single posts. We'll come to widgets in a moment though. Next up, we've got navigation. If we click on this, we can then have a link straight through to the WordPress menu customizer. And here you're able to customize your menu using this drag and drop editor. You can add content here, just tick and then press add to menu in order to add that, as well as remove and drag and drop just by selecting this. Dropping down, you can change the navigation label, the color, add an icon if you would like, and then also remove. I'm just going to leave those menus as they are. If we head back to the theme options here, Then we're going to move on to the typography. Now here you can control the fonts used on your site. You can choose between 17 standard web-safe font sets or from the Google Fonts library, which contains over 600 fonts. In order to change fonts, you can just use this drop down here to select from these web-safe fonts, or carry on to look through the Google Web Font Library. To make things easier for you, you can search. For example, I might want to search for this font here. We're going to see we get a preview, and that will display the text there. You can also select the color, the font weight if the font has multiple weights, as well as the font size. If you click on more, you can see the CSS selectors as well as any additional CSS, and choose a fallback web-safe font. For example, I might want to have this falling back to Georgia. You can preview here using a light or dark background. And to apply these changes, you just need to save your changes. I'm using an image for my logo, but if I had this set to text, I would now have the logo using this lobster font. You can reset this just by clicking reset, and you can also go through every single aspect of your site in order to add the fonts you want. So for example, the navigation font, you're going to see this here. You can change the font, again, change the font weight, the font size, color, etc. And you can do that for all of these. If you want to preview, you can just press the preview button in order to see what that looks like. And if you scroll right down to the bottom, you're going to see the character sets you wish to include. Note that these aren't available for all fonts. If you're using a different script to the Latin script, then you might want to tick these in order to add extra character sets. As always, make sure you save your changes once you are done. And now we're just going to have a quick look at the import and export options. We've already looked at how to use the preset layout options in order to import the layout. So I'm just going to show you the import and export options here. You can export your theme options by pressing this button, and you might want to do that in order to copy and paste into a text file in order to create a backup or to move to another site later. To import options from another site, you can just press this import button and then paste in the code such as you'll have below. Finally, on this page, you've got options to create a child theme, and you can do this if you would like to make advanced customization to your theme files, as this will stop your changes being overwritten when you have a new version of the theme installed on your site. You can create a child theme just by typing in a name here, such as SociallyViral child theme, and then pressing create child theme here. That's going to automatically create a child theme for you, and you can activate it just by heading to Appearance and then clicking on Themes and then activating your new child theme. As always, when we're done, you want to save those changes. And that concludes our look through the theme options. The final thing to do with our setup then is to head over to the widgets under Appearance and then Widgets. And here we're going to see that we've got the available widgets as well as the widget areas. We've got two widget areas, the default sidebar as well as the homepage widget area. If you've created any custom sidebars, you're also going to see these additional widget areas created here. Now widgets are a key part of this theme, and you can see here we have the custom widgets denoted by the MTS prefix. To add any of these, you can just drag and drop. For example, if I wanted to have recent posts from a single category displaying in my sidebar, I could do so here. You can have the title as well as choose the category, and the number of posts as well as the title length, and so on. I might just untick the show thumbnails as well as the number of comments. If we now just have a look at our site, we're going to see we've got extra content displaying in our sidebar. So I'll just load up a post here, and we're going to see we've got the recent post displaying here in the sidebar. You can of course drag and drop these to move these around, and that's going to save automatically when you're dragging and dropping. The homepage widget area appears on the homepage after the second or third post, depending on which layout you have. And you can just add in any widget here. You might want to add an advert here, or if you want to collect your visitors' email addresses to email them later on, then you might want to use an opt-in such as the WP Subscribe Pro widget. And you can just drag and drop this here. You just need to select the service you want to use and then follow the instructions to set that up. Now this concludes our look around the SociallyViral theme. As you can see, it's an incredibly powerful theme that's built to be engaging, fast, and can boost your viral traffic. I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any queries, then head over to community.mythemeshop.com, and thank you very much for watching.